experience through the things he suffered. And of course, there is a dichotomy in all of that, because give and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, shall men give unto your bosom. But I've also discovered the things that God blesses the most, Satan persecutes the most. And so you have to begin to live a life with people that are extremely balanced, who are very honest with you. If you're walking around with no clothes, you can't have people around you that are saying, you're wonderful, when you are covered. Did I say the wrong thing? Was that a bad thing? I'm from Zimbabwe. Sorry, Ryan will correct me afterwards. You can't be naked as a pastor and people are saying, you're wonderful. We're wonderful. When you're showing everything in public and embarrassing yourself. And some from the outside has to come and say, but you're wearing no clothes. You should be covered by so and so and such and such. There are all kinds of people who value themselves more highly than they ought to think.
Right.
And they produce people that are just like them. And they become problems. And so it is important that when a person comes into a moment of affliction and they've never suffered before, they can become confused and even leave the Lord, leave the church, leave your church, leave you, because they don't understand that suffering is part of the package. And so there are so many books written on leadership and so on, but very few have been written from an apostolic prophetic perspective, which is a witness to the things that our predecessors, starting all the way from Noah and maybe before, all the way to John Baptist and then the apostles, who went through very challenging and difficult times to produce prophetic integrity and to produce apostolic uprightness, to be men and women that are just, dispensing judgment, dispensing honesty, and something that is becoming difficult, to tell the truth to people. You know, if somebody in our church gives me a big check or big money, I never have breakfast with them, I never have lunch with them, because I don't want to get used to the fact that somebody has given me a gift and I don't want my flesh to desire it. That's just me. And so, because this, is dangerous. And so alongside this now, hearing from God has become a lost art and science. Hearing from God. I didn't sleep last night. I wasn't going to watch the Liverpool game. I did. I was really tired. But then I couldn't sleep. I was up until it was time to leave at 4 in the morning for the airport. But the Lord was messing with me on this message and trying to complete it on the plane. But hearing from God as an art and a science has become lost. We look for tricky, nice typos that got a shine and a jingle, and we try to get people emotionally worked up, which could happen today. That's part of the intention. It makes it a nice church service, etc. But a lot of times people are screaming and shouting and running, and it's dear. And they're not hearing what God is saying. I have to get way to teach me Africans. I don't trust the other children in the wrong ones. So an apostolic leader and an apostolic voice must aptly and ably address issues in a nation, in a region, in the people, and confront demonic problems. Confront them and deal with them head on. Because what has become normal is abnormal.
Yes.
And again, I follow American politics. You know, what is happening in America is very fascinating. What President Trump is making a stand on certain issues. That a man is a man, a woman is a woman.
Yes.
You know, those things help a position of the church, and other things that are helping at least a position for righteousness to have a chance in the midst of a world where Supreme Court justice cannot define what a woman is.
Yes.
And so all crazy things were creeping in the world through demonic agendas and affecting all of us down the road, including NGOs who were giving money to African leaders and churches with strings attached, that you have to have this agenda adopted in your ministry if you want this money. And it's like, to double two things with your money, we're going to preach the truth. Amen. You must be the appetite. And so the apostle then must, and the prophet must at all times be true to the calling that God has given. Because at any given moment you are going to be brought to a place where someone, some region, some person is going to need deliverance. In some places it's a people, in another place it was a well, in another place it was a spring, in one place it was an axe that was lost, in another place it was all kinds of things. A woman stuck in the wall for 40 years, being a prostitute, and yet she was carrying Jesus inside of her. At some point, someone is going to need deliverance. But the person that's going to need it, or you yourself that's going to need it, you are going to have to learn how to participate and cooperate with that deliverance. Everybody say amen. I need a strong amen. And so when Elijah begins to confront the false prophets in the city of Samaria, he calls for Jezebel to meet him on Mount Carmel. It's not like he woke up one day and said, I'm going to confront these individuals. It took him a while to go through the school that Samuel had set up in the circuit of the schools of the prophets. And Samuel was a direct result of an individual who was neglected in her physical body. She could not give birth to a child. And when the time was right, God used her intercessory prayer, which was forced on her because of her need. In other words, how bad do you want this miracle? And she proved it by deep intercessory prayer. And when the prayers reached the state where God said, this is the kind of prayer that will give birth to the level of prophet that's needed to address the heinous crimes and the debauchery in this nation. When Samuel was born, the promise was your words will not fall to the ground. And as a young boy, Samuel had to deal with two unruly potential high priest, Phineas and Hophni, and a backslidden high priest who even let the light go out in the temple. The first sign from the very, very inception of that entire thing. And a boy had to do a man's job. And God trusted this young boy with things that would be given to men 10 times his age and more. But because he was not a child as a being, he was a mature prophet because God had instilled something in him. And his mother ensured he was constantly covered with an ephod, which was the highest ranking garment in the nation. His words never fell to the ground. But because he was designed in the kind of way he was built as a prophet, he became a multi-generational thinker and implemented the school of prophets to teach people the art of authentic and integrity prophetic ministry. And out of that school came men like Elijah. And when Elijah came, he based on precedent his actions on what he was taught in the school of Samuel. And so when he says there'll be no rain for 3.5 years by my word, It wasn't thus said the Lord, because he was from a school whose words never fall to the ground. And so he then goes for 9 months, and he spends 9 months at the brook Cherith. Now watch, while he's at Cherith, he's there for 9 months. As you know, 9 is the number of birthing. So he's going to get pregnant in Cherith. And so Cherith then represents the umbilical cord of the mother to the womb. And so the birds are going to bring in bread and revelation. The birds are demonic spirits. These birds were taking food from the false prophet's table, bringing it down the umbilical cord. Bread he was being fed with revelation knowledge. And meat, he was being fed with maturity. Because by reason of use, you have to have your senses exercised to discern good and evil. And only men of full age can eat strong meat. So he was being given bread. You need another revelation for what Jezebel is doing. And you're going to need a level of maturity. You have to speak like a man and not act like a child. And so after 9 months, when the baby was grown and was birthed, the baby was birthed at a widow's place. Her name is not given. She was said to be from Zarephath. And so he asked her for a drink of water. Why water? Because there had been a drought that he pronounced. He gives seed to the sower and bread to the eater. So he had to get a seed to end the drought. So she gave a seed of water, which was going to return, pressed down, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. So when the seed was received by the prophet's reward was coming, which was answered prayer. Then he said, go make me a cake, because now she needed to eat, because she was going to die. He'd been eating, but she needed bread for the eater, because she needed a revelation knowledge herself, but what was coming. I'm taking too long with that. When the boy died in the house, it was an opportunity for Elijah to be stretched in his faith to meet Jezebel and the false prophets. And when he was stretched at that level, he was mature, he had revelation, he was stretched, his words wouldn't fall to the ground. And when they met on Mount Carmel, the miracle was ready to participate with the prophet. I feel like preaching in this place, amen. I just have to check my time here because I'm on a tight schedule here, amen. People in Middleburg are very busy, they've got places to go. And so the truth, ladies and gentlemen, sisters and brothers, is true of anything you're going to do in life. I can read, and I will, a number of individuals where Jesus walked into a place in John chapter number 5. There was a man there from Norrisson. He was there for 38 years, and he couldn't walk. They said all the preachers come from Norrisson. So he was there for 38 years, and Jesus walked in there. There were many sick people, many. But none of them wanted to participate with the miracle. They were waiting for somebody to throw them in the water. When the miracle worker came in, Jesus came to a man and said, would you like to be healed? He said, I have nobody to throw me in the water. So Jesus said, I didn't ask you that. I'm trying to get you to participate with your deliverance. Whoever you are tonight, and however bad your situation is, and you may have given hope on what your situation is, if you will be like that man at the gate, beautiful, expecting to receive something from the Lord, something from heaven is going to break out here and give you something that's a secret. Nobody else knows, but it's your secret. It's going to break out, and 9 months from now, that baby will be born. Somebody say yes. Give your neighbor a high five and say, participate with the miracle. to participate with the breakthrough God is giving you? Someone say yes. When God called Abraham out of Babylon and said, I want to take you to a land that I'm going to bless you. And out of you are coming many nations, like the dust of the ocean floor, and like the stars of the heavens. I'm going to bless you, but you gotta leave where you are and go to where I tell you. In other words, if you want this blessing, you have to participate with the miracle. Tell someone goodbye. I'm going to participate because God has something for me on the silver anniversary. God has something that's been waiting for me in this conference. And you might not recognize me after midnight because I'm leaving this level and I'm participating with and I'm going to another level. I need about 300 women to clap your hands like this. Not yet, amen. You could be just minding your own business, going to a well as is your routine to fetch water for the family. But this day, there's 10 camels there that have been traveling through the desert for days. And the number of men managing those camels. Now dinner is waiting to be cooked at home, and feet are waiting to be washed at home. And so you have a decision to make, because in the zeal inside you can feel a miracle is trying to happen. You can feel this is a destiny moment. And so you know that your daddy's a strict man, but you also know that this is a moment that could define my life. Eliezer, who sees the girl, has the condition and says the right woman for the right man has to do such and such. And so when right people meet with destiny, a miracle is in the making. It's taken 25 years for you with the golden earrings to get to this moment, to this spot, at this time, to